So good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all to this regular meeting of the Summers County Board of Education, August 26, 2025, 5 p.m. here at Hinton Area Elementary. Let the minutes reflect that 4 board members are present with 1 board member dialed in. And I would like to add that she would like to apologize for not being able to be here in person, but due to health issues, she just wanted people to know that she was still involved, and we do appreciate her. With that, Mr. McBride, we'll go to item 2. Would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 3, we have approval of agenda with adjustments. I'll make a motion under 10F. We amend that to just say drivers. It's currently right now says approve use of buses and drivers for Bridge Day. That would be to approve drivers for Bridge Day. Second. A motion by myself, seconded by Mr. McBride to amend item 10F to just say drivers. Any discussion?
So that means we're not doing buses?
We're not providing the buses, just the drivers. They've been provided by that area previously. We've never sent our buses over, so does that need to be mentioned? It's always has been to allow our drivers to drive it. I'm not sure why. All right, any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining. Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that we will amend item 10F. Under 10C, if you'll note, policy, I don't know that we need to take action because this one is struck already, but just note that that one policy for placing on comment is struck. It's not ready to go yet. Okay, and then the rest we'll deal with when we get to personnel. Is there anything else, Dr. Knott, that I need to?
And Larry was not ready. It's in your folder.
Jay, thank you. You did send me that text. I apologize. Yep. So new school grant is not ready yet, so that will be brought to us at the next meeting. So we will scratch. I'll make a motion that we postpone item 10J until a later meeting.
Second.
Motion by myself, seconded by Ms. Harvey, that we postpone item 10J until a later meeting. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining. The minutes reflect by 5-0 vote, we will postpone item 10J to a later meeting. Feels good? Feels good. I didn't see any. You guys, you had any?
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as read with the aforementioned changes.
Okay.
There's a motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mrs. Harvey, to approve the agenda as read with the aforementioned changes. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining. Minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the agenda has been approved as read with the aforementioned changes. Item 4, under student achievement, we will turn it over to Renee Jones and Dr. Kevin Green.
We're going to out of work a little bit here. Sit down. So what you have is a couple of pages of charts. And I want to start out with the growth. When we look at 6 through 8, our goal for the year was a growth of 5%. And so when we look at sixth grade, our meet standard grew at 10 from beginning of the year to the end of the year. Our exceed grew at 2%. Then seventh grade ELA, 8 and 8, and then 9 and 3. So overall, growth wise, we are moving in the right direction. That 6 to 8, you'll notice when you get to after we get to the GSA, that there's a graph or chart on horizons. That's our high school data. And there's not a growth there for that one. Because as we talked about in the spring, we had just adopted that benchmarking tool at the middle of the year when we found it. And we gave one in February, at the end of February, but that data was more of a test to see if we could use the program and kind of see how it goes. So when we gave benchmark 2 at the end of the year, this is where we were. A 9th and 10th grade took the Horizons benchmark. And so 38% of our 9th graders met standard for ELA. For 10th grade, 61% met standard for ELA. And then in 11th grade on the actual SAT, 46%, no, 51% met standard on the ELA. I wanted to just go ahead and say for the SAT, because now that they're embargoed or unembargoed, our SAT ELA scores were equal to the state average. When we go to the math, it was 22%. When I saw that, I was like, we got to push that, we got better, and we absolutely do. But then when I was talking to some principals on a conference call right after that, we were kind of just discussing kind of how the state shaped out, and we were 5 points higher than the state in math. So for our 11th grade, we'll take a little bit of a win there. We still got a lot of work to do, but we'll take that win. So for math and for the 9th and 10th grade, we're not where we want to be, but we are moving in the right direction. You see that there. So now that we've talked about that, I'll go back to the GSA because that's where we started. We had 28% proficiency in ELA for 6th grade. In math, it was 15%. For 7th grade ELA, it was 33%. For math, 32. And I want to say the math, it's 32, but that was about, at the beginning of the year, about a 15% proficiency rate. So they came a long way in 7th grade. And then 8th grade, we were at 11% proficiency. And that's just an overview of our scores as a school, how we did, or as a county, I guess, in my position now. But the next 2 pages, we went through for 6 through 8, and we went through the specific standards clusters for the test. And we looked at the breakdown where we were. We have taken this data, we did it in the spring, and now it's something we'll go back and do in the fall, and the principals will come and tell you more about that later. But we've looked at where our strengths and where our weaknesses are. We've used that data that you have before you for middle school, and they're already working on the plans to put those in place. So I kind of wanted, when Ms. Schaefer and I were talking about this, I wanted you to have the overall view, but then I wanted you to kind of see where we were in each individual area. There isn't one for high school yet because we just haven't got that far in the program to do that. Any questions about this? I know I didn't read every number, and I kind of wanted to just give you the highlights of it.
So how does this correlate in relation to growth? For where we were, say, a year ago?
Overall, school-wide for the secondary school, we have met our 5% growth goal in ELA overall. So we're moving in the right direction. We want to go more than 5% every year, but that was the goal, and so we will celebrate that win, and we will push harder going forward. that's where we're not going backwards, we're going forwards. And we'll use all the achievements that we have to kind of motivate us to address those other areas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, I gave everybody a handout for the elementary scores, but the first two slides do have information for grades 3 through 11. For grades 3 through 11, the first chart shows the West Virginia proficiency rates, and then Summers County is on the right. Overall, grades 3 through 11, we were 32% proficient in ELA, math 24%, and in science is 18%. And then if we look at last year's scores, 2024 to 2025, you can see that we are moving in the right direction, grades 3 through 11. Science, I think it's like 18 and 18 there. So we still have a lot of work to do, but we are moving in the right direction. Now for just elementary scores, for ELA, West Virginia, the state scores are up there. But if we look at Summers County overall for the grade levels, third grade was 27% proficient, fourth grade was 30%, and fifth grade was 33%. And then the next sheet there in your paperwork, it just breaks down the Cambium score rubrics for the scoring to exceeds standards, meets standards, partially meets, and does not meet. And then we have a comparison from 24 to 25 for ELA. Third grade, fourth grade, and fifth grade. So in third grade, in 2024, we were at 18% proficient, and this year we are 27% proficient. Fourth grade, in 2024, we were 26%, and this year, or last spring, we were 30% proficient. And in fifth grade, ELA, last year, was 29%, and then this last spring, 2025, we were 33%. Then we go on to math, and I included the state scores, and then you can see Summers County there as well. Third grade overall, we were 36% proficient, fourth grade 25%, and fifth grade 26%. And again, I just broke down the different score levels in Cambium, so you could see a breakdown even further of the data. And then the year-to-year comparison for math, third grade, last year, 2024, we had 25% of our third graders proficient, and in 2025, we bumped that up to 36%. Fourth grade, we had 32% in 2024, and we did go down there about 7 points in 2025 We did have some long-term subs and.
I ask you not to tell us necessarily the exact reason.
Right, in generalities, we did have, long-term subs and some non-certified teachers. But even with that, we've put some things in place. So if we still have long-term subs, you'll hear from our specialists a little later what all we've put into place to help those. Fifth grade, we were 20% in math in 2024, and we bumped that up to 26 in 2025. In science, our fifth graders take science, but it is a grade band of 3 through 5 science standards. So the state was at 33, and we're, Summers County, we are at 18%. The next slide just shows a breakdown of the different, scoring criteria in Cambium. And in 2024, our fifth graders were at 17% proficient, and in 25%, we did grow by 1 point, so we're 18% proficient. The next slides are for our elementary schools, Hinton area, Talcott Elementary, and Jumping Branch Elementary. I've included all of that data for you all to review. If you have questions, you can reach out to me or to the principals. And the principals, we hope to invite them to one of the meetings in September. And like Dr. Green said, they're going to go ahead and dive deeper into their data and let you know what their strengths were, what their weaknesses are, and how they're going to achieve this coming school year. All of this data is on a public website, ZoomWV. You can go there and look at assessment data, attendance, discipline, just about any type of school data is on that website for you. And the last few slides is our AIMSweb Plus with the House Bill 3035 Act. It's also called Third Grade Success Act. We've really hit that hard. The state put in requirements. So there was a list of screeners that we could purchase, and AIMSweb Plus was the one we chose to go with. And we are seeing that it matches our foundation's curriculum and it tests the same skills that we are teaching in the classroom. So I won't go over all of those, but the thing that we want to see is in early literacy and numeracy, or in math and reading, we saw on every grade level a decrease of our tier 3 students. Those are the students that have to be pulled out in small group intensive intervention. We saw that number decrease from fall to spring, and that was in every grade level. So that is a very good plus for K through 3. Do you have any questions for me?
The one, I guess, more like a hypothesis, maybe, is that the third grade scores seem to me like that is validation of the impact that the aides are having on student instructions from pre-K to second grade.
I say that's a big part of it, but it's a combination of multiple things working together. We provided some additional PD this summer for our aides and our teachers on how to grow that partnership, how to work together in the classroom. Our specialists are providing small group instruction, professional development. They're in the classrooms modeling. So all of these things that we've put into place combined, we're finally seeing the goods. Yes. Any other questions?
Yeah, there's one other thought. Even though the state doesn't require testing for science, it's the fifth grade, should we apply some of the mid-year, like beginning of your mid-year testing on our own?
Yes.
To see like where are some areas that we should concentrate and focus to get us some good gains?
Yes, we could do some test authoring questions. There's a lot of tools in Cambium that we can use.
But for free, for third and fourth grade too.
Right, but we could use those tools, for fifth grade. And we could build in some resources for third all the way through fifth. But we've also, worked really hard to build our science and social studies knowledge building libraries. Each teacher, K through 5, have a library that matches their science and social studies standards to all of these books, read aloud books, and books that the students can read too. So we are tying science and social studies in with our ELA.
This is awesome. I know we set some lofty goals
Mm-hmm.
for everybody this year and past year. And I appreciate everybody recognizing the call for we want to be fighting these. But to see folks rise to the occasion.
Thank you.
All right, next we have, item 5, presentations, our curriculum specialists.
No, do that.
Maybe. Oh, is that, okay. Better? Okay. Okay, this is just something that Kelly and I have been working on since last year. I guess last spring on and off, just to try to house some of the things for the teachers in one spot that was easy for them to access. Like we said, with the Third Grade Success Act and with all of our push to try to increase our test scores and to keep our eyes on our standards, we wanted to make it accessible for the teachers to have everything in one place so they never have to search for anything. And we also wanted to create some things for them that we thought would be helpful in keeping them on track and the things that they maybe would like to do, but they just don't have time to because they're teaching all day. So any of the things that we thought could support teachers that then could support students, we have kind of developed into this Google Drive and shared with the elementary schools. So every teacher has access to this. So we'll go through just a little bit of it and kind of give you an overview, maybe not the whole thing because it might be a little bored, but there's a tab for everything. So any teacher in the county, in our elementary schools has access to this and they can go to it. So if they need something that has to do with assessments, you have to double click it. There it goes. They can click on the assessment tab and they will find the assessment schedule. And then each elementary school has their own separate schedule that works best for their school, so they can also find that in here. So there's the assessment schedule that was created that kind of gives them a breakdown of what they need to do when. I think the other things, there's our progress monitoring schedule. So we also went through and made the progress monitoring schedule according to our calendar benchmarks, the different things the teachers would need to do, and went ahead and put that in a chart for them with the dates so they can pull it up and keep track of who they're supposed to progress monitor when. We also have this sheet that we actually borrowed from the secondary school because we liked theirs so much. So they were kind enough to share that, and we made a Cambium tracking sheet for third, fourth, and fifth grade for ELA and math. And then we took the cut scores from each one and we broke it down into the individual goals. So at the beginning of the year, after we take the benchmark, they can mark where they are, and then each student will use this sheet to set their own specific goal. And then every time they'll track it on here to hopefully meet their goal by the end of the year. And so those are on there for everybody. We just included, with the third grade Success Act, we are required to send home a letter to the parents informing them of how their child did on the benchmark test. I think we only have to send it to the tier 3 students, but we send it to every student just so that every parent is aware. And so at the top, it kind of goes through that policy and explains it. And then there's a part at the bottom where each teacher fills this out after our benchmark testing. And they mark what level of support the child will receive in ELA and math, whether it's, intensive intervention, tier 2, core, or if they need enrichment. And then also on there is a list of where they'll write or check who's going to provide that intervention and then what that's going to entail. And we send that home at the end of every benchmark. So, that's okay. The next one is fluency. This was a big goal for us last year at the elementary level because we saw the need for an increase in fluency in ELA. It was kind of one of our hangups, and last year we saw a lot of growth across the board. So this year we just wanted to make sure we kind of, keep the pulse on that and don't let up because it worked. So there are rubrics made for every grade level on there that match what they should be doing at different points in the year. And our teachers use these weekly or every other week, and then they get sent home. So the parents are always aware of where they are and where they should be.
Do the one for
Yep,
fourth and
okay.
fifth.
So since fourth and fifth grade will not be using AimsWeb this year because of the Cambium, and that being what we all felt was more of a priority for them. But some of the fourth and fifth grade teachers liked keeping track of the fluency, and they had students who still needed it, but without the AimsWeb to house it, it could get tricky. So we made a Google Sheet for them, and we went ahead and listed every week of the school year. And at the bottom, there's a page where all they have to do is rename it for that student. And when they do their fluency score each week, they just pop it right into that, and it'll populate the data for them. So our goal would be that the red and the blue start to get closer together, that, the passages they can practice, and the cold ones, they start to get a little closer together to show growth. Also, we have pacing guides, which I think were really helpful last year, and we checked on those in our PLC meetings. Not that everybody has to teach the exact same thing every week, but just to give us a general idea that if we stick to this pacing guide, we know our standards have been taught and we know we'll get to them by the end of the year. So our pacing guides are in there. We have a tab for intervention where we have an intervention calendar. We are required to keep the attendance for our intervention students for the third grade Success Act to show that we've provided intervention and that they've attended and they've received it. So this calendar tracks that for any student receiving tier 3 intervention, and now this year tier 2 intervention as well. Orton Gillingham is a program our Title I teachers use, and they wanted a better way to track their skills. And so some of the Title I teachers actually created that tool to use this year. And then we wanted to keep a better handle on our tier 2 students to make sure that they weren't sliding into tier 3. And so we also have some tracking for first and second grade teachers that they'll be using with their tier 2 students that they see in the classroom, just for documentation. So if they're not coming out of that tier 2, we have a good idea of why that's happening, and we can hopefully fix it. Math. So we have a tab for math, and in here we have our scope and sequence, like our pacing guide from our math curriculum, and we also have a standards map for each one. So if they know the standard they're teaching, they can pull up the standards map and see exactly which lessons that's going to be taught and make sure that it's sufficient to really teach the standard. Oh yeah, novel studies. This is a fun one. We're actually excited about this one. Last year, we have a lot of fourth and fifth grade teachers that like to teach from novels. And so last year we had the third, fourth, and fifth grade teachers at each elementary school sent us a list of the novel studies that they like to do. And so we made folders for each one in here. And so then what we will be doing is we kind of got to start, but we're not all the way in yet, is any resources that we have countywide for any of these novels, the teachers can add them to this folder. And then they have access to share amongst each other because we have, I think, at least one teacher at every elementary school, if not more, that make their own assessments for these novel studies, or they have just really neat comprehension or vocabulary things. So we had a session at our Teacher Academy where they actually planned a novel study together, and they all really liked it, so they'd like to keep doing that. And so then they have access to that where they can share resources back and forth with each other. There's not anything in this one except the dyslexia checklist so far, but we do have a folder on here for SAT, for our student assistance team. And Mrs. McVeigh is going to be sending us all of those documents that the teachers might need for the SAT process. And we'll upload those onto this also, so the teachers always have easy access to those. We are also required to give a dyslexia screener through the state now, and we have that in our Ames web. So every teacher in kindergarten through third grade does a dyslexia screener every year with the students. And so last year, after some training with the state and different things, they had some further questions. So we developed like a checklist for them to look at to see, what are the warning signs? Is this normal? Is it not normal? And so that's in there also. And then we have the writing folder has our pacing guide from our writing curriculum that we've made with our school calendar, so they can see kind of where they should be, especially for third through fifth, to see where they need to be finished with all of their content before state testing. But we also have the Cambium rubrics in there, so the GSA rubrics for writing. We are comparing those to the writing curriculum and making sure it's, that they match up, and how can we use those rubrics with that, but that's all in there also. Good. Knowledge building. I don't see it. It's, no. You're on my PLC notes now. You get it?
Yeah. Sorry.
That's okay. Like, man, or what?
You did. Oh, I skipped that
There
one.
it is.
I'm sorry.
So Ms. Jones talked about our knowledge building, and we've been working on that since last year with the teachers to build their knowledge building libraries to try to get that science and social studies content back up, and teach it through their ELA. So in here, there's a list of all of their social studies and science standards, and then beside it will be the book that was purchased to follow that standard. For our K3, it actually follows their phonics scope and sequence too, so it all kind of ties together. You get it? And then this is the GEOs are the books that we also have for knowledge building and phonics at the K2, almost K3 as soon as they come in level. And then this is the GEOs at a glance. So the teacher, before they teach it, they can pull it up and see their essential question, their vocabulary, just a snapshot, and then they can pull in other materials, to match that as they see it. That's it. I think so, but I think that was it.
The end.
Yes. So that's just something that we've been working on. We shared it with the teachers, and we'll continue to just take feedback from them and add what they need and create what they need and add the cool stuff they already have that they've done and share it with everybody.
You all reviewed those, is it some of the sheets they're filling out, is there tracking, you all reviewed it?
We have, we do data meetings at the end of each benchmark with the principal, ourselves, the classroom teacher, and Title I, and we review the benchmark data and make plans for each student. And then at our weekly PLCs, we have data check-ins also. With me? Back up.
You can ask to. So fast forward. Hold on, we're not. It's not just. At the high school, secondary level, we basically do the same thing. We just use Google Classroom, just a different format. It's right. It's easier if you see.
I'll sign you out.
All right, we have two different classrooms we use. One is where the teachers will upload all their lesson plans and their unit plans, all the information that they're going to need, like the SAT, all of those paperworks are already in there. And it's already uploaded. If you just want to grab them from that and put them in yours, you're welcome to do that. Then I have one for the West Virginia standards where we keep all of our information for our West Virginia standards for successful schools broken down into the 7 different topics, and that's where all my evidence goes. So every training that we do is uploaded in there where staff can go back and look and review. Tutorial videos for the staff in there, our data laws in there. Our data laws, all of our data broken down by grade level. A lot of what they're, exactly what they see, just a different format. You'll see it here in a second. We are working on our, pacing docs. Our staff's working on them now. So once they're finished, all of that will go up. All of that will be added up into it, as well. It's
I apologize, guys.
all good. Usually the cast works and you just pop it. You know what? Yeah. So put your line.
People are watching.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, stop that. Come back here. So I'm gonna start with, let's see.
And you'll see, he has a portfolio required for now.
So this is your, you wanna go forward?
Sure,
Okay.
yeah, our standards for effective schools. So we have our mission in there, all of our leadership instruction. As we go through, the standards will be in there for each of our grade levels, every time that they do looking at their data, breaking down their data, all of that will be uploaded in there for everyone, everyone to look at. And if we have a teacher that really needs help, that they see that and stuff for the years to come.
This is some of the documentation that she has. I'm going to go to my archive classes because This is the one, I believe, from last year.
Mhm.
So this is what Ms. Schaefer was talking about. This is kind of what all of our teachers have access to, and each year we're modeling it. This year's is still in progress, but every teacher has had access to this as we go along. So any of those things like you've heard about backward design, the templates are there. The lesson, that's where they would upload them. They can they have examples in there. So
All the forms that they need really.
uh, so like this is one of the things we do. We focus on assessments and PLCs. That's something that's a big for us at the secondary level. So a template is there. We've also provided exemplars. So you know, we kind of started out with a small group that built them, and so we provided some samples there for them to go by. Then just all the other curriculum resources. There's our SAT referral form. So anything that they would need to have access to, any PD, it is in there so that they can go back and look at that as we go along.
The handbooks are there, student handbooks, staff handbooks.
Any questions about this, like how teachers would use it, or, I'm sorry it took so long to get there.
Yeah, so I guess both of you, how much usage or engagement have you all seen in the papers, which is staff?
I'll speak to the high school portion of it, because that's where they have to submit all the stuff for training or whatever. There's a pretty good amount of use for it, because as they're doing these required tasks and putting them into place, that's where they find their samples and their resources.
We just finished, just like at the beginning of this year, sharing out with teachers. But I do think the reason that we've got a lot of positive feedback about it and, you know, that they're happy and all of that stuff, I think it'll be really useful.
Our staff seems to like the one-stop shop for everything. Everything's right there.
It seems to be the biggest feedback we've gotten is they, you know, when we put things in email or whatever, they get frustrated in trying to find it. So I will say, being a jumping branch for 2 years and then the high school, this has been the best mode to keep staff informed.
So the differentiation here, you all have it in a drive. You're using.
Classroom.
And I think that is the difference in the mindsets, in all honesty. I think that's an elementary and a secondary mindset.
Yeah, I think the elementaries don't use Google Classroom as much as the secondary because our kids don't use it, so the Google Drive is more beneficial for them, I guess.
And our staff, Google Classroom is what they use for, yeah. Yeah.
And what, if any, AI support is there in using these resources? You understand, like, there's a lot of, on the staffing and like data entry that goes into this work as well, so.
I think I'll start with that one. As far as this, not as much, but at the secondary level, and I think the CHIPS have brought it up to the elementary level a little bit, that they were supposed to. We've worked with this program called Brisk. It's an extension. And I know Mr. and Mrs. Smith made that as a part of their tech tools training at the beginning of the year. And it just like right here, this for me is clever, but on my own laptop, it'd be Brisk. And so teachers can use that, like, let's say there's a YouTube video they want to show, but they want to do something with it, like students take specific notes or whatever. They can click on that, that extension, and it will create a worksheet from it. It'll create a quiz. If you want it to help you build a lesson plan, you can click on the Brisk extension. And like, you know, you talk about data entry and stuff. So like with the backwards design template, if teachers want help building, like creating learning targets, for example, then they can put that standard in Brisk, kind of like ChatGPT. In fact, that's what we used before we did Brisk. It will help break it down for them even more. And then obviously, you know, that's your first draft and you got to tweak it. And then you can take that learning target and say, help me find like different resources for this target. And it will do that. And so I won't say it takes the thinking out, but it kind of helps pull all these things from the internet together and then use the teacher can kind of organize them in a way that works best. So that's how we're starting this year to use it. I don't know how much Mr. and Mrs. Smith have been able to get to the elementaries on that, but I can tell you as the technology director, they are coming around and that will be part of the training for that. Okay, I think I took it for the whole team here, but it's coming. Because if we can do it a little better to make people, even though we know this needs to happen, the standards-based work has to happen, but if we can use some tools to make it more efficient, I won't say easy because the work is never easy, but efficient, then we can do that. And that is one of the things I worked with when I went to San Francisco this summer is one of the vendors was Brisk. I'd seen it a little bit, and then as I was walking through the vendor hall, I was like, I need to talk to you. So we may do a little bit more work with that. Plus, it is a free extension, and they will also provide more in-depth training. So.
Leave it to me to ask a question like this, but just curious of what we've been presented from you guys. For your- How much, if any of this is Dr. Edwards' influence?
So here's what I'll say about that. Dr. Edwards' work